Version 1.3 is only one 5-star character coming out, Shorekeeper. It's kinda weird that we're only getting one even though we're only 4 versions in, but fortunately it means we have a buffer window for the next character we want to save up for, and with Camellia being soon to arrive, that's nice timing. It also makes it easy to choose which of the 2 5-stars to go after when there's just one, although I don't think anyone would have been able to make a compelling case to be chosen over this lovely lady. Shorekeeper is another support character of the Spectral element and potentially grounds for the best character in Wuthering Waves that we've seen up until now. So far, all feature units in this game have been either above average or meta-defining, a trend that shows no signs of stopping among its 5-stars. More on that matter, a nagging issue we're facing right now is the apparent lack of support options, evidenced by Verena being a mainstay in most if not all parties that opt to run a healer. By all accounts, Zhe is more akin to a supplementary attacker with a few buffing aspects to her kit like Yinlin and Sunhua, making Shorekeeper the first actual support character to be released. We'll be going over her abilities and functions, her sequences, discussing her current place in the meta, her party synergy, her weapon and echo choices, and finally the role she plays in most applications. With the way the game's combat has been structured, Wuthering's party building prioritizes offensive output more than a balanced formation of proper attacking and defending. Since you can overlay skills from one character on top of another, you can theoretically have 2 main attackers working in tandem as opposed to only having 1 attacker and 2 supports or follow-ups. Consequently, there's less of a need for an actual dedicated buffer in light of being able to simply substitute them for an attacker. Be that as it may, the one thing you can't really do without, especially given how hazardous endgame combat is if your mechanics are not on point, is a healer, particularly if you also factor in their extremely useful outro skills, which is why ever since the game came out, the majority of general parties consisted of Verena and 2 attackers, whether Shangli Yao and Yinlin, Jinqi and Zhe, Jian and Mortefi, Encore and Chengli, so on and so forth. That's about to change with the newest member of the cast for today. Although it's kind of redundant that she too is a Spectral unit, but I mean, not complaining. Shorekeeper is also a healer support, the 3rd member of the dedicated healer class. What exactly sets her apart from the other 2 though? The kinds of buffs offered. As you know, Verena and Baizhi are more than just healers, they have a few quirks of their own that lend themselves more towards the party's offense. Shorekeeper's in a similar boat. Opening with her liberation, she creates a field around her that continuously heals all party members in range of it. If an intro skill is activated while inside, the field evolves to then increase the crit rate of all party members equal to Shorekeeper's energy regeneration, maxing out at 12.5%. While that may not seem like much, it's important to remember that buffs in Wuthering at the moment are few and far between. Early on, players were even attempting to use Originite weapons with characters like Yang Yang just to make use of the attack boost from the Rejuvenating Glow set. That should paint a picture of how buff-starved we are. So it's not the amount of bonus crit rate Shorekeeper gives that matters, but that it's crit rate to begin with. It gets even better though. If a second intro skill is activated while inside the field, it will evolve again to additionally give bonus crit damage on top of the crit rate and healing it's already giving. Altogether, Shorekeeper provides a regeneration field that can give a maximum on 12.5% bonus crit rate and 25% bonus crit damage. 50 CV worth of buffs. Depending on how good your echo subs are, most DPS characters hover around the 70 to 90% crit rate. Shorekeeper might be just what you need to break past that juicy 100% crit rate. Considering virtually every team is making liberal use of intro and outros no matter what playstyle they are, you can essentially take Shorekeeper's party buff for granted, as all you need to do is perform 2 swaps to get the full strength of her Stellar Realm. This also includes her own swap out, so if you're playing a hypercarry attacker like Jinqi or Jian, by swapping out of her to your backup attacker, Zhe or Mortefi for example, and swap from them to your carry, by the time your carry enters you'll have the full field. It's super easy to pull off in that sense. Alternatively, if you're playing a quick swap team using a cancel-based attacker like Changli or Yinlin, you'll get her empowered field without even trying. Shorekeeper's Liberation has a max duration of 30 seconds and a cooldown of 25, giving her the longest unconditional active buff duration in the game, perfect for any party essentially. Whether you're trying to sustain long rotations or just a quick fight, she can handle either. And though she does have one of the most expensive energy costs of any character, considering she skills off energy regen, just as soon as the buff expires you can likely throw down another one right away. From her Resonance Liberation alone, Shorekeeper has immense party utility and versatility. She gives healing and both crit stats, a vital resource to have for all characters. The utility doesn't stop there though. Shorekeeper has a few more components in her kit worth mentioning, not the least of which being her outro skill. In a similar fashion to Verena, a major reason why Shorekeeper might be a must-pull. Shorekeeper has one of the best outro skills in the game by virtue of how long it stays active for and the fact that it persists throughout the entire party. For one, identically to Verena, she provides a bonus 15% damage deepened by default, but instead of bonus attack, the other buff Shorekeeper provides makes it so up to 5 times per cast you can cancel the stagger and knockback animation upon getting hit simply by inputting a sprint. This does count as a dodge, meaning you can perform the character's dodge counter. In other words, Shorekeeper is a skill issue support. If you have trouble perfectly dodging enemy attacks, her ultra skill lets you cheat by achieving a dodge even though you didn't by inputting a sprint while you're in stagger or tumble animation. If you suck at dodging, that's one more reason to add her to your roster, since oftentimes bosses attack in combos of their own, meaning if you get hit by something, you're gonna get struck by even more attacks, at which point the likelihood of dying is virtually guaranteed. Being able to break out of a wombo combo with Shorekeeper's outro can make all the difference between a successful attempt or a soft reset. It can also be helpful to players who play on high ping and can't always dodge attacks. Beyond that, Shorekeeper is first and foremost a healer, and her ultimate thankfully isn't the only way she can regenerate HP. Her skill provides an instant heal for the team. Probably should have mentioned this earlier, but both her skill and liberation heals are based on health, not attack. So if you're using Baijia before, you can practically transfer over her echoes and stuff to Shorekeeper if you want something quick and easy to work with. Additionally, her intro skill also heals the entire party. On the subject of her intro skill, there are two variants, a base form and empowered form. When Shorekeeper's ultimate field reaches full strength and she intro skills into it, she'll recover all party members just like her base version, but she'll also consume the field to deal a guaranteed critical strike liberation damage based attack to all nearby targets. Due to her destroying the field upon using her empowered intro skill, once you do get the max level field, avoid swapping into Shorekeeper until the tail end of its duration, since accidentally swapping to her early will cause you to lose the field, and then you'll have to wait at the cooldown. Basically, while Shorekeeper's liberation has a long duration, it can be deactivated prematurely if you're not paying attention and just swapping between characters mindlessly. That being said, it's not much of a challenge to get it back up anyway. A final sustain component I want to mention is one of her inherent skills. Shorekeeper has built-in death prevention, trading her own HP to restore the would-be fallen allies' health before they die. Like other insurance policies, the cooldown is 10 minutes, so don't expect it to save you more than once per hologram or tower attempt. Still though, it's a nice quality of life thing to have. That about sums up the range of her supportive utility at S0. She heals a bunch, has a really convenient bailout mechanic, and can supplement both crit stats by a measurable amount. I haven't really mentioned her Forte circuit because outside of using it to stack up Concerto energy, it's not nearly as integral to her gameplay if you're using her purely for support, which most of us will be. But for thoroughness, using normal attacks on Shorekeeper will create these cores that tag onto nearby enemies after a short delay, and at full circuit you can heavy attack to deal a big explosion of damage. Obviously, healing supports are not known for their personal DPS, so for the most part you don't have to factor that into your gameplay that much, but essentially, as you normal attack on Shorekeeper, you deal additional damage after a delay, and at full circuit you can discharge for big damage. That's about it. From a supportive point of view, I wouldn't exactly say Shorekeeper is a straight upgrade to Verena to the point of completely replacing her, considering the two have their respective niches, but I will say that in terms of strength and value, she's every bit equal to Verena in terms of contribution value, if not slightly more. And like we've established empirically, Verena is being used in virtually every party you can think of at the moment. By extension, Shorekeeper can also be used in every party, which is nice, as Tower of Adversity mandates you to make no less than 3 parties to get 30 out of 30. Synergistically, she's a one-size-fits-all type character. You can use her for any party with their only main requirement being that you get off 2 intro skills. 99% of teams perform intro and outros on a constant basis. You have to actively be trying not to upgrade her ultimate field. The only areas she might fall short in are double carry team comps who might not get their second swap off until later in the rotation, all the same though it's not enough to undermine her contribution. Therein lies the main reason why I think Shorekeeper is such an important character. She fills a heavily understaffed role. I'm aware towards the super endgame you don't actually need to bring a healer along and you can just bring 3 attackers, dodging everything as a means of defense, but bear in mind, that's only for going like ultra sweaty gamer. For the majority of players who don't have the mechanics to do triple quick swap and dodge every attack perfectly while optimizing every rotation, units like Verena, Baijia, and Shorekeeper are essential. The main motivation to pull for Shorekeeper is because supports are in short supply and the fact that she offers crit stats to the party, something no other character can do at the moment. Next thing to talk about will be her sequences. Usually for support, sequences come in the form of quality of life and more buffs. Shorekeeper is no exception. The bulk of her essential stuff is taken care of at base. There's no need for you to really go beyond that if you're budgeting your asteroids. If you are concerned with min-maxing, my recommendation is to go up to maybe S2. S3 and onwards is mostly if you have money to burn. The first sequence expands the radius of Shorekeeper's ultimate field by a substantial amount, and it also extends the duration of said field by 10 seconds, lasting a total of 40 with a cooldown of 25. Consider the field a passive at that point. Moreover, using her empowered intro skill will no longer destroy the Stellar Realm, allowing you to use your intro skill freely even after upgrading her field. This is a very convenient sequence to have if you have any intention of going beyond S0. It's coverage, uptime, and idiot proofing all in one. S2 gives a 40% attack boost to the entire party while inside the ultimate field, a good increase to have, especially since it affects the entire party, not just the active user, so off-field attackers like Zhe and Yinlin can benefit from the extra attack as well. as 3 grants Shorekeeper an immediate boost of Concerto energy upon casting a Liberation, enough to where I believe she can outro instantly after using it, assuming it has some built up already. If nothing else, it's convenient. Is it worth pulling 4 copies of her for that? Probably not, but any sequence beyond 3 has never been worth the monetary cost to obtain it. Whales can enjoy it though. As 4 grants a whopping 70% healing bonus upon using her skill. Bluntly speaking, healing is the least of your concerns on Shorekeeper, just build up a lot of HP on her and your party should have no trouble staying alive with the occasional dodge. S5 and S6 are more for her personal use, with S5 extending the ranges of her 2 pulling attacks by a noticeable amount, and S6 making her intro skill give her a staggering 500% bonus crit damage along with more damage on the intro. Calculations wise, this can make her a veritable contributor to your party's damage output. But again, we're talking S6. If you have the wherewithal to get S6 on all your characters, I don't think you're short on damage. Realistically, for most players, if you're going to choose between either C1 or weapon, I'd go for weapon, which actually segues nicely into the next part, equipment choices, where their main priority being to get as much energy as possible. Shorekeeper has a fantastic free-to-play option in the form of variation, offering over 50% energy regen and also a helpful passive to get her outro skill going quickly. So if you're concerned about needing to get her personal weapon, you can think of it like variation being more cost-effective, while Stellar Symphony makes echo stat optimization much more forgiving. On the subject of her personal weapon, it's obviously the best thing to go for, being literally made for her. Tons of HP, tons of energy, tons of Concerto, and a nice party attack buff whenever healing. Honestly, I have half a mind to pull 2 of these, so I can give one to Verena, and I think I will actually. Comet Flare and Rectifier 25 aren't bad choices either, as the former gives HP and healing bonus while the latter gives energy, but I'm fairly certain everyone has variation, so just go for that. Echoes wise, as per any support or healer, your choices are Rejuvenating Glow or Moonlit Clouds, whichever you prefer. Because Shorekeeper's energy based, Moonlit Clouds may sound more appealing, however I would recommend Rejuvenating Glow just for the consistency given she's a healer, and if you want to run Moonlit Clouds you can do so on your second character. Another reason is because the new Fallacy of No Return Echo is part of the Rejuvenating Glow set. Very similar to how Jue is perfect for Jinxi, this one is perfect for Shorekeeper. You can always find energy elsewhere. Speaking of which, energy substats are your first and really only priority, followed by HP. You don't have to care about anything else. Like I said, you could just take Baiji's Echoes if you have her geared up and put them on Shorekeeper and you're done. That wraps up my assessment of Shorekeeper. In totality, I think she's the new best character in Wuthering Waves. Again, I'm not saying she's 100% better than Verena, but accounting for the role she plays and the stuff she offers, copy-paste everything that people appreciate in Verena and apply them to Shorekeeper, except the latter offers her own variety of buffs distinct from the Flower Girl. Shorekeeper is another one of those units you pull for to cover bases. In this case, we need more support units for the sake of meeting party requirements for a tower and whatnot. And you guys know me, I value supports a lot more than DPS in terms of pull requirement. What do you guys think about Shorekeeper though? Are you gonna pull for her or do you think she's overrated? Feel free to share in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at ForSpherum, join my Discord server, and check out my other Wuthering Waves discussion videos if you haven't yet. But till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.